Hello YouTube, it's me TFR Wilderness and welcome to this month's end of month bot haul. This is my end of month bot haul for November 2019 and what have I got this month? Obviously I've done a review on a couple of the items, you've probably already seen those, but here we are. I'm going to show you everything else I got. As usual, I will go through the items in chronological order, you know, one after another, in order I purchased them or received them. So without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Right, so the first thing to arrive on let's have a look, Wednesday the 6th of November. I've done a review on him. Impossible Toys Rebellor. Now, as I said in my review, I've been after one of these because I like to collect Thundercracker. He's my secret choice, and I wanted to collect that trifecta of early third-party seeker molds that are different. Well, they're not based on toys; they're more based on characters from the fiction. And this was the one I was missing. I mean, I've got the other two. I've got the Mastermind Creations Nightmare for Stormer. Is it Stormer? And the last month I got the Eye Gear one, and this was the only one I'm missing. He transforms into a Tetra jet. His alt mode is amazing and definitely worth the price of admission, but the rest of this thing is god awful. The build quality, the plastic quality, the molding detail, it's scary to transform. I have broken some minor tabs on it transforming it for the review I did on it. So yeah, it's not great. It's not great. I mean, just handling the thing and trying to pose it is it's not great. It's like I said, it's really scary to mess around with this thing. But I finally got one. Got him for a really good price from a guy in Holland, and it came with a set of faction decals, white backed faction decals that I can put on stuff. So that was great. So he was the first thing that I got this month. Then next, Friday the 8th. Right, first of all, went uptown to see my mate Richard, Spartown Comic Collections, and picked up a couple of comics. Got Transformers 14, Old New Era, and the second issue of Transformers Galaxies. Now, Transformers Galaxies. The artwork is done by this Ramondelli bloke. Now, no disrespect to the bloke, I'm not a fan of his art style. He does this really sort of dark, moody, film noir style artwork, which I'm not a fan of it, to be honest. I don't appreciate it that much. And I will say it is slightly ruining my enjoyment of these comics because he's doing the art for all of these. I'm not disrespecting the guy. I'm not saying his art's bad. I'm just saying it's not to my taste, basically. But the story's moving on. These Constructicons, they rebuilt Cybertron after the war, and then they got screwed over and carted off to a planetoid to build an energon power plant or something, and then they just got left and forgotten. And because they were all afraid of their when they combined into Devastator using the Enigma combination. They sometimes they went a bit wild. It sort of took over and they ran amok and destroyed things. So they were a bit upset about that, and so they fobbed them off with a phony job on somewhere else. But the story's moving along. Again, the other one, I'm not really enjoying these new IDW universe things, the new continuity much. It's okay, I suppose. I mean, you've got Strong Arms here. You can see her there. She's Strong Arms in this issue. It's quite interesting. But it's a thing I'm getting on, but the IDW comics at the moment just aren't floating my boat that much, and I don't know whether I'm going to continue getting them for much longer, but we'll just have to wait and see. Right, so that was that. Then, a couple of AliExpress orders arrived. So yeah, I've been going on AliExpress and buying a few extra things, and they both arrived today, even though they're from separate sellers. My Jiaolong 7062 little submarine submersible dude that transforms into a mech. Really, really cool. Did a review on this. I said in that review that I thought it was, I was going to say it was a world first review, but afterwards, after I posted up the video, I did another search, and turns out there's a couple of Chinese tubers that had done it before me, so that was never a thing. Great little figure. It's kind of small, but really cool. Awesome alt mode, really detailed, realistic alt mode, from a real world submarine. It's not a transformer as such, when it's not a sentient robot, because it does have a little pilot dude inside, and brilliant little figure, nice tight joints, pretty simple transformation, really cool looking thing. So I got hold of that. That was cool. And then the other thing that arrived, Aoyi Mech LS11. What's it called? Ancient Monster. Yeah. So basically, it's a KO upscaled version of the Last Night Voyager Scorn mold. This thing is huge. It's heavy. It's covered with all these pointy, spiky bits, which are very kid friendly. Yeah, you'd certainly give this to a kid to play with, wouldn't you? Yeah. They're not sharp enough to draw blood, but if you grip down on it in with any force, it can certainly give you an Aoyi. And it's sticking into my hand, holding these spines at the back to hold him up. Amazing thing. I mean, Scorn is one of my favourite characters from Age of Extinction. He wasn't in the Last Night, though. They did do a toy of him. I've got all the official molds of Scorn, and I saw this and I thought, hell yeah, I've got to get this. The dinosaur is massive. It's absolutely huge, and pretty screen accurate with its colours. There's a few mold improvements they've made over this. I mean, the Voyager version in Dino mode, it's got those bare grey plastic bits on the chest of the Dino, which look really crap. But this one has got extra pieces which fill them up and give it that rib detail, so that's pretty cool. It's got quite a lot of articulation. It's got some die-cast bits. The chest plate's all die-cast, and it's got. It's got light-up features on both the Dino and the robot head. So yeah, I got hold of this. Came from a seller on AliExpress for about just under 80 quid. He's huge. He's massive. I mean, in Dino mode, it's like the size of a dog. It's massive. So yeah, got hold of him. Really, really cool, awesome figure. And that was the last of the items that I got on Friday the 8th. So, moving on. Next thing arrived on, was it Monday the 11th? Another KO figure. Model Wizard, what's it called? Model Wizard Skysoarer, or some will say the Wei-Jang KO Power of the Primes Predaking. Now, this thing, before TF Nation, I went down to see my mate James Lai of Maximil of Toys. Went down to his house in Portsmouth and hung out with him for a weekend and his buds. And he had all his stock that he got ready to take up to TF Nation to run in the store. And he had this in the stock, but he also had the official Hasbro, Power the Primes Predaking, and you put the two side by side, and I heard rumours that this one was oversized, but when you put them side by side, they're exactly the same size. And I was looking at the two of them side by side, and had hands on with them, and fantastic figure in combined mode. Both of them had their plus and their minus figures, merits. But this one, the thing that really stood out for me was these guns on the shoulders. These trumpet ends they've got on the cannons that make them look like blunderbusses. I absolutely love that. And it's got, you know, it's got like a light up feature in the head. There's other numerous mold improvements that they've done on this, like a lot of the you know, sort of individual limbs for the robot modes. Instead of them being ball jointed, they've gone to universal joints. It's got, you know, better hands. It's got bigger guns, bigger, you know, it's got articulated wings. Lot of improvements they've made to it, and it's brilliant. Now, why did I go for the KO rather than the official? Well, obviously, I like the improvements they've done to it, and this is definitely a factor in that. But the other main reason, let's put this down for a second because it's heavy. Yeah, Power of the Primes Predaking, right? Titan class Predaking. We all know the Power of the Primes toy line was a bit of a mess up. You know, 3 waves and it's done. And the Power of the Primes toys were released at the same time that Toys R Us went down the toilet. You know, Toys R Us was, you know, the big you know, toy chain, national toy chain in America and Europe, who, you know, this thing would have been, you know, the primo figure for, you know, especially for Christmas last year. And it wasn't, because Toys R Us went down. And because Toys R Us went down, it threw the whole toy distribution network of Europe and possibly, well, not so much the US, but definitely Europe and the UK into chaos. You know, the importers of Transformer toys, they didn't know who to send the toys to. This thing never came, you know, the official one never came out in the UK as far as I'm aware. And Hasbro didn't make enough of them to go around, because you look at trying to buy one off online. I mean, this thing should have been 150 quid when it was new, but because there was a shortage of them, the prices have crept up, and you'd be lucky to get one for like 160, 170, or even 200 plus. I mean, I recently went to the MCM Comic Con in Birmingham, and IndieMan had one in their stall, and they were asking 200 quid for it. So yeah, the price of an official one is like unrealistic. You're talking scalper premiums to get one now, and it would never went on sale. And I'm sure somewhere in the world there's a warehouse full of these things, full of, you know, the Power of the Primes Predakings that, you know, never went on sale, and sooner or later they're going to pop up at discount stores for, you know, reduced price, you know, like 40-50 quid or you know, $40-50 or whatever at some time in the future. But for right now, if you want to get an official one, you have to pay through the nose for it. And when you can get one of these that's got all the improvements on it, and it's probably less than half price what you'd pay for an official one, it's a no-brainer really. So that's why I went for the Model Wizard Skysoarer. The combined mode's amazing. I love it. It absolutely looks fantastic, especially with these blunderbusses on the shoulder. I really love that. The individual bots, I mean, obviously compromises were made to make the engineering work for the combiner mode, and the individual bots are heavily molded, especially the beast modes. You know, these leg guys, you know, you have these big massive hip chunks that, you know, these thigh chunks that fold away into the bulk of the beast mode. And Headstrong especially, I mean, he's got this stupid derpy face. I mean, that's supposed to be a raging bull head, and he looks like a derp face he's got on it. But anyway, still, I love this thing. It's amazing. It's fantastic. It's awesome. And yeah, I went ahead and got me a KO Power of the Primes, you know, Titan class Predaking. Can you blame me? Anyway, yeah, so got hold of that, and that arrived on the 11th. Right, next, as I said previously, went to the MCM Comic Con at Birmingham on Saturday the 16th of November, and I actually took a lot more money. I took about 245 quid, because I was fully intending to go over budget this month, because obviously there's you know, Siege Omega Supreme, who's now come out all of a sudden. He's the Titan class for this year. I want to get hold of a Mega Supreme, and I was hoping to get one from In Demand. Now, In Demand have a habit of price fixing at events. I've seen this definitely at TF Nation over the last couple of years. In fact, last year, Power the Primes, Voyager, Hungar. They had on the Friday night when you went in, they had it priced up at £30, and then come Saturday morning it was priced up at £35, and there was a handful. There wasn't many of them at the convention. I mean, obviously, supply and demand. There was a shortage of them, and every seller in the hall was doing it at 35 quid. Yeah, and when I finally got mine, I got it for what was it, less than 20 quid? Was it less than 20 quid I paid for it? I can't remember. Anyway, I got it for a lot less than that. Anyway, but I've seen it in demand, and in fact, this year when I bought my my Masterpiece Shockwave off them, I'm sure I saw it for like 130 odd quid on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday they bumped it up to 150 quid. So yeah, I think at certain events, In Demand, they do a little bit of price fixing, a little bit of premium pricing on some of their figures. And I was thinking that they were going to load up the pricing on Omega Supreme. I mean, it's come out, it's a big Titan bot, and the regular retail price for it is 140 quid. And I was expecting them to bump it up to like 150, 160 quid. But anyway, I went there. I was expecting to find lots of other things that were worth buying, and it was the Siege Ratchet I was particularly looking out for, because I'd heard rumours that In Demand had got an exclusivity deal on it, as it's a Walgreen exclusive in America. But anyway, so I went to MCM, got a priority early bird ticket, got in there for the 9 o'clock opening. Took me a while walking around to find the In Demand store. But when I got there, first thing I saw, Siege Ratchet. Yes, they had a bunch of Siege Ratchets. Luckily, I got in there early, because when I walked around later on, they'd all gone. 30 quid they were asking for this guy, which, for a deluxe figure is quite a lot of money. But when you think about this thing's an exclusive, and In Demand is apparently the exclusive retailer of this figure in the UK, you don't blame them for selling it at a price slightly more than a regular deluxe. So I don't blame them. And if you had to get one of these online, buying it from those Far Eastern sellers or people in America, you'd be paying like 45 quid for the figure plus 15 to 20 pound postage. So you'd be looking at 50, 60, 70 quid to get hold of this if you're going to buy one online. So paying 30 quid for it is not that bad. Here's a great figure. I've said before, well, I don't know whether I've said before in my videos, when it comes to Ironhide and Ratchet, I'm Ratchet all the way. Ironhide doesn't work for me particularly. The reason being is that I was not a fan of the G1 cartoon series, and Ironhide was a staple character in the G1 cartoon. Ratchet, on the other hand, he shined, or his time to shine was more in the comics. He had a number of notable storylines where he had starring roles in stories in the comics. I mean, Warrior School was one of them. And I really like Ratchet for things that he did in the Marvel G1 comics. So when it comes to Ratchet and Ironhide, I'm Ratchet all the way. So yeah, I'd much rather have got this version of the mold than the Ironhide. I've had plenty of chances to buy the Ironhide before, but I wanted to get Ratchet, and fortunately, In Demand had one, and I got him, and he's awesome. He's great. He's a fantastic little figure. Then a couple of sort of Micromaster things. Smashdown. Now, I wasn't too bothered about these Micromaster, Power Master, whatever masters they're doing for the Siege line, but when I saw this thing, I thought, you know what, I could go for that. And then more recently, I've got another reason for getting hold of this. Now, there's an anime series that's recently appeared on Netflix called Cannon Busters, and it's a really pretty cool, show. And in it, you've got this Philly the Kid, and he drives this massive, great, sort of like convertible Cadillac style car, and it's got like a slot machine in the dashboard. When you put put a dime or a coin into it, it transforms into a giant, raging bull mech called D.E.C. And I kind of think that this kind of works as a Micromaster D.E.C. If you want to see what D.E.C looks like, I've got a screen grab of D.E.C's sort of a raging bull mode. Here's a picture of it. So that's a picture of D.E.C from Cannon Busters, and little red bull bot. It transforms into a Warhammer. What's not to like? I mean, it's a little bull bot that transforms into a Warhammer. Great little thing. Love it. The only thing is obviously that the handle is an accessory. If you store it in robot mode, you gotta stick it out of his ass like a tail. In the packet, there's a good chance it's gonna get lost. He also came with one of those blast effects, and I know I got blast effects with the Commander class Jetfire, but it's the first time I've got them with the little figures. Really cool, and I've been looking to get hold of this guy. A lot of people are selling these in a 2-pack with another figure, and I wasn't prepared to do that, but I managed to get him on his own at the in-demand booth at MCM, so I was really happy about that. Then I got a double pack, Powertrain and High Jump. Now, Powertrain, there's quite a specific reason why I bought Powertrain. If you look at his colours, dark blue and orange, and then if you flip his thing round and put that up, it gives him a hood, and he kind of looks like Micromaster Huffer, or he works as a Micromaster Huffer. At least I think he does. And Huffer's one of my characters I like to mold set collect. He's like my prime character I collect all the molds for. And even though this isn't Huffer, it kind of works as Huffer. I mean, when you transform him into his truck mode, he kind of looks like Power Core Combiner's Huffer, because he's got a truck mode that's a lot like this. So yeah, he kind of works as a Huffer. At least I think he does. So yeah, that was the reason why I bought this guy, because I think he's a dead ringer for Huffer. Come on, turn around. There we go. So yeah, I think he's a dead ringer for Huffer. That's the reason why I got him. So got him. But again, these guys came in a 2-pack. Then you've got High Jump. He's all right. He's okay. A little grey robot dude transforms into an SUV people carrier type thing. Very boxy vehicle mode. Decent moulding, decent colours, usual sort of Micromaster, Siege Micromaster articulation. He's alright, but he's a character that means absolutely nothing to me. I know he's based on one of the original Micromasters, I think, but don't mean anything to me particularly. I can't really say this character looks like any other character like I did with Powertrain. He's alright, but I've got no feelings for him really. He just came as part of the 2-pack, and so yeah, he was a Brucey bonus, but don't really do anything for me. He's all right. Got him. Now, it was at this point I was looking up at the Omega Supreme in demand, and they were doing it for 140 quid, so no price fixing today, which was good. But when I looked at what I was buying and how much money I had left, I had enough to afford it, but then I saw something else that I wanted, and I went and bought that. And because I bought this, I didn't have enough money left to afford to buy Omega Supreme. Movie masterpiece Bumblebee. Yeah, MPM Bumblebee. I've kind of been thinking I'd like to get hold of one of these. I've got the Studio Series Bumblebee, and I thought I'd like to get hold of this because it looks pretty cool. Obviously, they were doing it for 70 quid, which was a good price, for a movie masterpiece figure. So I bought it, and because I bought this, I didn't have enough money left over to buy Omega Supreme. I could have bought it. I could have gone to the cash machine and got a bit more cash out, or I could have bought it on the card. But I decided, you know what, I might be able to get it cheaper later on. It's readily available at Smith's. I might be able to get it on my pre-Christmas toy hunt, or maybe on a Black Friday deal or something like that. So yeah, I passed on it and got this guy instead. Now I've got him in car mode. I transformed it into car mode, well, about a week ago, I think. Now, me being me, I did the whole transformation ad hoc. My first hands-on with the mold, I went to transform it after I'd messed around with the robot mode. Fiddly transformation, very fiddly. I mean, I started with the arms and the torso, did the front end of the car first, and then I moved on to the legs to do the back end of the car. And I really struggled to get it compacted back into, the back end of the car compacted properly back into car mode. I really, really struggled with it. And then afterwards, I had a quick look at the instructions, and it turns out when you're doing the transformation, you start with the legs first, do the back of the car first, and then you do the front. So I basically did the transformation back to front. Oh well, you live and learn. It's pretty heavy, pretty solid. I don't think, well, there is a bit of die cast on it, but not much. I mean, I think these bits here are die casts. Those little shiny bits there are die cast, but it has got a decent amount of weight, and it pegs together really solidly in car mode. Not much ground clearance on it. If you get it pegged together properly, it does roll really well. Actually, that's no, I won't do that. Yeah, so it rolls really well, but there's next to no ground clearance. If you haven't got it transformed completely perfectly, bits will be dragging on the ground when you're rolling it around. But yeah, it's okay. The paint apps, you can probably see a little bit. Yeah, so you've got this dirt that they sprayed onto it, and you can see there's a disparity between the dirt there and the clean panel above it. So yeah, it looks a bit odd there with the mock dirt that they've sprayed on it. So yeah, there is a few like mismatched paint apps on it, but it's okay. It's a decent figure, and I got it for a reasonable price, 70 quid. So I was looking to get hold of him, and I've got him at MCM Comic Con from In Demand. And as I said, because I bought that, I didn't have enough money left over, enough cash left over on me to afford Omega Supreme. So I passed on him. So that was that. So next, next item number 11 arrived on Monday the 18th. I took the day off work, and a package arrived. I've been tracking it. I bought it from one of my usual sellers. Well, a seller I've been buying from recently, that Baba Bobo. I bought it from him. I could have got it from Mr. Netcloud, but I got it from Baba Bobo. And I like my Megatron Gunformer as well. There's a couple of Legends ones coming out now, some new Legends ones. And Newage have done theirs. They've got, well, I think they're doing about 4 different repaints of this. They've got the original sort of like toon colours, then they've got the shiny colours, and then they're doing a transparent one and a gold one and all these other things. But anyway, I went for the shiny one. So this is Newage N9EX Leader Hynkel, or it's their repaint of their Agamemnon figure. I love this thing. This thing's awesome. Bit biased because I like my Megatron Gunformers. This thing has got some amazing engineering on it. Has got some unusual aesthetic choices, most notably the hips. The way they've done the hips. Hips are really unusual on this. But in this paint scheme, the shiny sort of G1 toy style paint scheme with the curly sort of chest hairs, the shiny silver, and all the extra red on it, it really sets it off. And it's got this lovely gloss black on the blacks as well. Looks really, really cool. And transforming this thing it's amazing the way it works. I've messed with this thing a bunch of times since I got it. I just get it out and swap it backwards and forwards from one mode to another. Yes, there are a few little unusual aesthetic choices that they've gone through. I mean, the way the legs work on this is amazing, but you get these really wide hips as a result. Also, there's a few little colour mismatches on the paint panels on the gun mode. And what was the other thing? Yeah, the trigger's got some bits sticking out. I mean, this piece here is basically that's the front of the gun there. It's got some unusual choices as regards to engineering solutions on it, but it works really well, and it's really fun to transform. Amazingly articulated, especially on the legs because of the way the hips work. I mean, it's got outrageous transformation capabilities and articulation. It's awesome little figure. I love it. And yeah, I got the shiny one because I like my G1 Megatrons to be shiny silver rather than the dull silver. That's just my own personal preference. Fantastic figure. Looking forward to the Magic Square one coming out in the near future. Probably won't be out till next year now, but I'm looking forward to that. There's also rumours that Newage are going to be upsizing their mould to masterpiece scale like they did with their Optimus. Very tempting, very, very tempting. I will definitely be on board with that. So yeah, so he arrived, Newage Hynkel, on the 18th, and then there was a bit of a gap until the next thing arrived. Now, one thing I've been looking out for, I mean, you notice I've been getting these Iron Factories Spirits of the D.E.C figures, and I've got all the other ones, and it was just the last one that's supposed to be coming out. I was patiently waiting for Kapow to get a pre-order in on it, but for some reason they haven't done it. Don't know why. But anyway, the figure came out sort of about, well, yeah, towards the end of the month. Well, actually, no, it's about halfway through the month the figure came out, and a couple of the eBay sellers that I follow, and my mate Mr. NetCloud got it in stock, so I decided to buy it off him. And I was hoping it would arrive before the end of the month, and the tracking code they gave me for it was a weird sort of like foreign tracking code, and then before it left their country they switched it to a UK tracking code, and I was tracking it and it just sort of disappeared. Then all of a sudden, it's at RDC Atherstone, and it's on its way, to your local sorting office. So it arrived. The next item to arrived on Tuesday the 26th. Iron Factory IFEX35 Spirits of the D.E.C Merak. Now this is Tesserus. Now I got Alcade, was it last month, and I called him Tesserus. Well, he's actually Helix. This is Tesserus. I've got those two character names mixed up, so I apologise for that. I always thought this guy was Helix, mainly because he's got that big red cross on his face. But no, this is Tesserus. Pretty cool figure. Really heavy, really chunky, lots of tight joints. Transformation's a little bit more involved than Alcade. I mean, Alcade was a little disappointing in some ways because his transformation was very simplistic. He just transformed into a blue block, and there wasn't much in the way of detail. This guy's got a little bit more going on. He still transforms into a sort of like a block of a Cybertronian tank, but he's got a bit more, some really nice colours going on, and he's the final part of the combiner. So now I've got the other bits here. Obviously, Alcade turns into a pair of legs, and also a pair of forearms, and this butt pack thing, and then Doobie forms the torso chunk. So if you just give me a moment, I will just transform this guy because he's not too difficult to put into combiner mode. There you go, and there it is in combine mode. It's really cool. It's quite really decent size. It's a little bit bigger than a leader class figure. I mean, there he is next to Combiner Wars Megatron. A little bit bigger. It's also little bit smaller than a Combiner Wars Combiner. I've sort of put it next to a Combiner Wars Menasor, and it's just a little bit shorter, though. You know, they could definitely go toe to toe with Combiner Wars Combiner because, you know, well, this is basically the DJD, isn't it? They kick ass no matter what they do. So yeah, got final parts. The combiner mode's all right. Obviously, I haven't got the Voss or the Kaon or Mizar and Fector because they just basically plug on the arms as weapons, so they're up in the loft somewhere. But all the parts from the figures get used on this, and it's a bit of a pain. You wouldn't be able to figure this out for yourself because there's so much, parts forming. You got to pull things apart and plug them in here, there, and everywhere. I mean, you look on the back. I mean, there's Alcade's, sort of torso. You've got a bit of Alcade there, a bit of Merak there, and then you've got all the pieces that plug into the legs and that. So I had to consult the instructions to get it into combined mode. But once you've converted all the other limb pieces, actually converting Merak into the torso piece is relatively straightforward. But yeah, so I've got completed that set. Just got to wait now for Mastermind Creations to finish their DJD figures. I mean, their next one, Moors, has now gone on pre-order on Kapow for like 165 quid. But to be fair, he is a massive bot, and it's large. I mean, I've got Carnifex up there, and he's basically the same size as Carnifex, and Carnifex was like 170, 180 pound bot. So, and I think Tortor, their Tesserus, is going to be huge as well. So yeah, got that to look forward to next year as like major purchases I'm going to need to get. But getting back to this month, that's it for the plastic that I got this month. Just one final thing that I picked up. Now, changes are afoot in Transformers comic land for me. Last couple of years, as you know, I've been getting my comics from Spartown Comics, which started out a number of years ago with a woman by the name of Lisa Marie, who did a pop-up cart in the local town centre. And I used to go there, and I was buying my comics sort of ad hoc back then. I was sort of buying them on eBay, and also when I went up to the centre on Friday afternoons, she'd have the cart out, and I'd see if she got the latest issue, and if she had it, I'd buy it. And after a while, I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to take out a subscription. So I started a subscription with her and started getting my subscriptions through her. Also, after a bit, Lisa, they knocked the cart on the head because it was cutting into their profits because they had to pay rent on the cart, and it was coming up to the lease being renewed, and it just wasn't worthwhile them doing. So they decided to cancel the cart, and instead they moved down the road to a local pub called the Royal Pug, and they had an arrangement where they set up in the back room in this pub and did the comic collections from there on Thursday evenings. So that went ahead. So I carried on with that. Now Lisa was she was pregnant, and as time went on, she got closer to her time to have her baby, and then she had to stop doing the comic collections because she was going to have a baby, and so they had an agreement with Comic Connections in Banbury, and Sid Beckett, Sino Kibble, he came across and started filling in for Lisa as my comics guy. So then he started doing the Spartan comic collections in the pub, and things rolled on. So for a while I was getting my comics from Sid, and getting my comics from there. Then something changed. Sid decided to step back from doing the Spartan comic collections, and they got another guy in to do it. Well, I think this was about the time that the Spartan comic collections moved from the Royal Pug up to the White Horse, which was another pug at the top end of town. The reason being, at the time they had a little arrangement with the bar staff in the Royal Pug that they could come in and do their comic thing there. But that guy moved. He left the Royal Pug and became a bar staff guy up at the White Horse. And because of that, they decided, Spartown Comics decided to upship and move to this other pub at the top of town called the White Horse. So I started getting my comics from there, and it was around this time that Sid stepped back from the Spartown Comics, and this other guy, Richard, stepped in, and he was doing them on a Friday afternoon. So I got friendly with Richard, and Richard's a good mate. I mean, I was pretty chatty and matey with Lisa and Sid, and now I got to know Richard, and Richard and me, we got on really well, and for the Spartown Comics has been continuing like that until recently, where things between Comic Connections started to go awry. They got a bit of a staff shortage. There was a bit of I wouldn't say ruptions between the staff, and Sid, who was part owner of the business, he decided to I think he decided to step back from the comic business because he was a bit worried about Brexit, and he's emigrated to Bulgaria, as I understand, and I think he sold his share of the comics, the comic store, Comic Connections, and then they decided they're looking for new partners to come in and help them out. And then you got the other comic shop in Leamington called Collectors Assemble, and they've stepped in and they've bought, as I understand it, they've bought out or done a merger with Comic Connections in Banbury. So Collectors Assemble and Comic Connections are now sort of one business. The comic shop in Banbury is carrying on as is, but in Leamington, Spartown Comic Collections have now been absorbed into Collectors Assemble, and you now go to the shop to get your comics. And yesterday, Friday the 29th, was my first time getting my comics from Collectors Assemble. So now, the problem being is, as I said, I was really matey with Richard, a good friend of Richard, like having a chat with him every time I picked my comics up. I mean, I'd go to pick my comics and I'd sit there for like 15-20 minutes just making small talk with Richard, and it was good. It was good, friendly atmosphere. But now, Collectors Assemble is doing my comics. It's a shop. I go in there. There's a couple of guys behind the counter. I said, my name's Jason Null. I have a subscription with Spartown Comics, and you should have a new issue for me. What have you got? So one of the guys tapped away on his computer at the counter, and he says, "You sure? What issue is it you want?" And I said, "Well, it's Transformers Galaxies number 3. I should be due." And he looked at it. He says, "Oh, the Comic Connections in Banbury haven't ordered one for you. We'll have to get one in for you." And I thought, "Oh, here we go." And then the other guy turned around and plucked one off, because they had them on the shelf, and he plucked one off the shelf and put it on the counter and said, "Well, yeah, there's one here." So then they did the thing and said, "Yeah, okay, we'll sell you that." It was ticketed up at £4 on the shelf in the shop, but because I get it from subscription, I get it slightly cheaper. So he sold it to me for £3. But that was just it. He just sold the comic to me, and I walked out, and it was. It's very sterile now, me buying comics. I just go into the shop, tell them what I'll, basically say, "Oh, Mr. Lovell, I've come to collect my comic. Here's your comic. Goodbye," and walk out. There's no chat. I mean, these guys that are running this shop, I mean, they're great guys, but their experience is, Marvel, D.E.C, mainstream comics, not so much IDW and Transformers, and Transformers isn't their thing. They know nothing about Transformers, and this is going to be a very disappointing. And also, Richard, the guy who used to do my Transformer comic collection, he is still part of the company, and he does come over to the Leamington shop to do work and help out. But he's not going to be there. He's not doing the Spartown comic collections anymore on a Friday, and I'm hardly ever going to see him again. So I'm really sad and disappointed that my sort of world that I had, for my comic world, for getting my Transformers comics, as well, basically an era. Spartown Comics has come to an end as such, and now it's all Collectors Assemble, and it's very sort of matter of fact, and you know, here's your comics, you know, please pay for them, and see you later. You know, it's I'm a bit disappointed that, you know, Richard is no longer a factor, and the main reason being is because I'm fairly isolated where I am. As far as I'm aware, there's nobody in my local vicinity who's a Transformers fan or a collector of Transformers toys. It's just me. And admittedly, well, I'm not connected on the usual sort of social platforms like Facebook or Twitter. I do have a few people I'm connected with on WhatsApp, but, you know, I don't speak to them on a regular basis because, you know, I don't want to bother them. You know, it's just I'll keep myself to myself. But Richard was, to me, he was my local sort of Transformers guy, and I'd go to see him on a weekly or fortnightly basis, and I'd sit and have a good natter with him about stuff that was going on in the world of Transformers, and I really liked that. But now I've lost that, and now I'm isolated again. You know, I haven't got anybody I can connect to see, you know, to do my Transformers comics. And like I said, I'm not really enjoying these current, you know, Transformers issues that much. You know, they're not really working for me. I mean, Transformers Galaxies number 3, again, you know, Ramondelli's artwork, you know, it's not my thing, as I said previously. I mean, it's a nice cover, don't get me wrong. It's a really nice cover. But I don't know, it's just not my thing. And also, in the back of this issue, it said to be concluded. So I don't know whether issue 4 is the final part of this Transformers Galaxies. I don't know. So again, this might be a short comic run that's coming to an end shortly, and I don't know what I'm going to do after that. So that's it. That's the end of the video. Yeah. There's only one thing left to do, and that's first and worst, because I always do that at the end of each haul video I do at the end of the month. Took me a little bit of head scratching to figure out what was the first and worst, but here we go. Right, worst. Rebellor, mainly because, like I said, the alt mode is great, it's fantastic, but the rest of it is just garbage. So yeah, and like I said, I mean, just holding it now, you know, it's just a mess of, you know, kibble. And it's pretty rough, but then again, impossible toys. And the best, Hynkel, because bit biased because it's a Megatron Gunformer, and also I've been messing with this so many times. You will not believe how many times I've messed around with this thing. It's a fiddle toy. I love this thing. It's fantastic. So first and worst. Yep. So that's that for this video. That's my haul for November, possibly the last haul for this year. I'm not planning on doing any more videos now, and I've been TFR Wilderness. It's been great seeing you, and ta-da, goodbye.